This episode of Off My Shelf contains coarse language and adult conversation. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, my name is Tracy James, and welcome to Off My Shelf, a podcast about movies that are well off my shelf, where we go through my DVDs and talk about the movies in my collection. In this episode, Sarah Behl is here to chat about coming of age, high school hijinks, and creepy older men as we discuss Dazed and Confused and Fast Time at Ridgemont High. Welcome!
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here and being my first, socially distant guest on the show.
Yes, we're being responsible and not being in the same room right now.
Yes, that's very, very true. I guess that's a good thing. Is it a bad thing? I don't know. I kind of like being in the same room with people. It's just easier for conversations.
Well, we'll do what we can.
Yes. But it's been 6 weeks of isolation and such. It's given me time to watch some more movies and TV shows and whatever, including these two. And I gotta say, I liked one and I don't like the other one.
Oh, you know what? I went into this, thought I had a bias and thought I had a favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Rewatched. Now I have a different favorite.
Really? Ooh,
yes.
I'm very, very curious. So I should explain, actually, like, these are not in alphabetical order, obviously. It's Dazed and Confused and Fast Times. But the reason why I'm doing this together is they actually come in a box set called The Ultimate Party Collection. And I just put it under Dazed and Confused because the packaging, one side just says Dazed and Confused, one side says, Fast Times. So there you go. That's it. So, but I guess thematically they go together. It's about high school and hanging with your friends and being cool or uncool and boyfriends and girlfriends and classes and all that kind of stuff.
I think the last time I was here, we talked about Can't Hardly Wait.
Yes.
Which also I think is a very thematic movie to these two movies.
It is. I think there's just something about, like, a general shared experience that everybody has, which is the high school experience, that just works in most movies. So they make them, people watch them, and 90% of the time you're gonna like it on a certain level, I suppose.
Yeah, I would have to say, like, in both of these ones, especially, there was more of a focus of, like, the male high school experience than the female one. But
oh, for sure.
Yeah. And even in Can't Hardly Wait, it was mostly male.
Well, I mean, the protagonist was male, and it was really about everybody surrounding him.
Yeah.
Whereas I do find, at least with Fast Times, there's the two females, which have their storyline. And then there's in Dazed and Confused, there's the pseudo mini storyline with the one girl and how they're going around, right? So they try to throw some female perspectives in there, but all of these are written by men. So even though the last one is directed by a woman, Fast Times is directed by a woman.
Yeah, so that was the surprising thing about Fast Times is I kind of totally forgot about Jennifer Jason Leigh's storyline. Mm-hmm. I think I haven't watched it in a really long time. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, I think I had put off watching that movie in a long time because I had bad associations with it. Mm-hmm. But then I watched it again. I was like, oh, Jennifer's story is so great. Like, yeah, this is the total typical, like, experience. Like, she's totally uneducated. She gets knocked up right away. Really like, they don't know, like, anything to advocate for themselves as women, or, like, no consent, like, none of it. And you're just like, wow, this mess. Like, it's just one of those things. When I was younger, it didn't strike me, but now that I'm older and rewatching it, I was like, oh, it's so great that they included all this detail, even though it probably makes it an R-rated movie now. But
yeah, actually, I was reading something in there that there were apparently originally a couple of full frontal scenes, like head to toe of a boy and a girl throughout the movie that they had to take out, or else they'd get an X rating, I think it was, or an R rating. There was a rating that was too high that they wanted to bring it down, and they had to, like, take out those two scenes. Like, apparently it was the scene when they're in the pool house together, Jennifer Jason Leigh and the other guy.
Yeah.
And apparently that scene, there was supposed to be like a pull-out scene of them like standing in front of each other, being all awkward and naked. And yeah, they took out that scene. So to like reduce the rating for the movie so more people could watch it. So I thought that was interesting. And I was like, but also that seems really awkward for people their age on screen to have to do something like that.
Like, I feel bad for Jennifer because this is probably one of her first movies she's ever in. She has to be topless multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, even that pool house scene is so awkward because she's still naked and he's fully dressed and gone. Like,
yeah, like, and she's just lying there, and he's like, bye, and she's like, what is happening?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can't imagine, like, having that experience as a young actress, but as, like, a teenage human, that's a very identifiable experience.
Yeah, exactly.
This is awful.
Mm-hmm. Everything sucks about it, yeah. I like, my thing actually had the opposite reaction to this movie than you did. I remembered her storyline. I actually remembered most of the movie. My problem is I always think it's more, I don't know, more, like, I find the movie disjointed, right?
It's weird.
It's,
the stuff with the teacher, Mr. Hand, that I was like, what's going on? Like, the tone is just so weird in these scenes. And like,
yeah, and the fact that, like, we know it's going on through a school year, but they're very bad at showing changes in time and how long things have gone by and all that kind of stuff. So, like, they show a scene, it's the first day of school, they're in class, they go to one class, they go to the mall, and then for some reason it's Christmas, and you're like, why is it Christmas already? And the only reason why you know it's Christmas is because they show close-ups of like Christmas presents and a Santa getting peed on, but nothing else about any of those scenes are Christmassy, you know? Because where are they? They're in like LA or something, right? Yeah. So there's no snow, there's nothing really identifiable as a season change, and nothing is gradual. So I'm like, how is this going here? Like, I don't know what time it is. And then when was it? Like close to the end of the movie, Spicoli goes into like the 7-Eleven or whatever, and he's like, didn't you work here? He's like, that was 7 months ago. I'm like, it's been 7 months? How has it been 7 months? Like, what's going on? So that was one of my biggest problems with it. It's the time pacing of that whole movie. Yeah. Got to me a lot, actually.
It was definitely like the scope of time didn't need it to be as long as it was. Like, it didn't need to be the entire year. Like, it could have been easily like the last month of school or the last week of school. Like,
yeah, but I think they were trying to show that. Actually, I think that really bothers me about some movies is that everything happens in one day or in 1 week or whatever, and like the whole world changes. And I don't mind it happening over a school year, that like there's these specific points that things are happening and there's changes in the world, but you actually have to portray it properly for you to understand changes in motives and changes in positions and why are they doing that and whatever. Because like I find Jennifer Jason Leigh's character, she goes from, oh, I'm really quiet and really shy, to every guy she talks to, she's aggressively going after. And I'm like, I don't understand. There's no real juxtaposition or growth from like one position to the next position. And it kind of bothers me. I'm like, so you're either innocent or you're like, no, I'm not going to say it because it's kind of slut shaming what I was going to say, but I don't think there's anything wrong with what she was doing. I just think they need to show the progression from where she starts to where she ends up. And that progression isn't clear enough.
Yeah, she could have got more storyline in general, but she got a good one. Like, I think she got like, she held her own in terms of the amount of tension that she got on the screen. So
yeah, she got a decent amount of screen time for sure, and like a build up of a bit of a story in there.
I think she had probably like the realist experience of all of them, right? Because like her brother, like he got a job, he bounces from job to job to job, and doesn't find any kind of satisfaction. And then
Mhm.
like even like the guy who loves her is just kind of like hopeless and still
Mhm.
hasn't changed much at all. And then Sean Penn is just like in his own world entirely, right? Like
It
he almost seems
entirely.
like, why is he even a part of this movie if not to be just the comedic fodder?
Mhm. Well, I think that's why he's there, because if you look at the rest of the movie, if he's not there, it can be. I think it'd be really depressing if he wasn't in
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it definitely goes more the route of like Dirty Dancing. Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm like, yeah, you need to fix that tone with the movie with a lot of singing and
Dance.
dancing. So if it was just her storyline, this movie would be a musical.
Yeah, they would have to be. You're like,
It would have to be.
I can't handle any of this, you know.
You could only do abortion as musicals now. It's law.
Oh, like everything is easier when it's in the song. So I agree with you. Definitely
Yeah.
agree with you. I don't know. I think, like, I know you're saying that you see people. I don't see growth in any of the characters in that movie. Is one of my other biggest problems. They go through all these things, all this stuff happens, and actually, except for the guy who likes Jennifer Jason Leigh's character, who's a wimp at the beginning, but then aggressively goes after that guy for being an asshole at the end, nobody changes. They're exactly the same people at the beginning of the movie and at the end of the movie, and they don't seem to have learned anything or are, I don't know, coming up for air anywhere or trying to change the way they're acting for any reason. It just seems the same.
Oh yeah. Yeah, nobody has like a major like I even wonder like I wonder what people are motivated about like making a movie about high school so much is that they're reflecting on their own experiences, or are they trying to use it as like a cautionary tale of like, hey, this was my experience, make sure this isn't your experience. But then it's like so hard to tell. I'm like, well, I can't extrapolate either of these things from this. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was also a little confused. I was just like, are you just like telling a nice story of things you remember fondly as a kid? But but yeah, I was also confused.
Well, that's it. Like one of my other problem with Fast Times is, except for the Spicoli and Mr. Hand parts where they talk about American history and getting high and eating, everybody the whole time, every time two people are talking to each other, it's only about sex. Like,
Oh yeah,
only about sex, and you're just
and
like,
graphically too,
yeah.
and poorly. Like I love how uneducated. Well, they all are all super uneducated about it. Like the boys
Mhm.
and the girls equally.
Yes, but that's more of an indictment of the American educational system than anything else. And it was
But
the
then they were only
80s.
interested in showing heterosexual love, and like any other kind of love isn't even mentioned or even
No.
like referenced in any kind like and even like I it was getting to me by the end about like how much they were using like the female image of like that 80s beach babe
Yes.
to like for and I was like, oh, that's a lot of like
Hmm.
one type of woman in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, because every girl in this movie that anybody even makes reference to as being attractive have all the same body type or about the same height. Um,
They're
they're
all white.
they're all white, except for the only time they make reference to a different type of woman is when they're in the restaurant and you've got this like, you know, Helga looking woman serving them at the
Oh
table who's
yes.
scary, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, so it's either that they're big and they're scary, or they're these tiny, perfectly bodied young things that are, because
Tanned and petite.
yeah, well, because even like when you meet, what's the other teacher's name? Who's the biology teacher? And they're at the
Yeah, and
dance
he
at the
has a
end.
beautiful wife.
Yeah, but she's exactly the same type of person that you've seen throughout the movie. That's quote unquote attractive, right?
Yeah,
And
totally.
you're like, so you're not even going to explore any kind of other look or attracting type or anything, but is that just like a product of the 80s that we have gotten over, or do you think that was just a closed-minded way of looking at things?
I don't know. I think for both of the women, though, as much as they were like a very stereotypical type of a person of the time, and like, I don't know, and maybe they were being leveraged, but I like that their stories were at least representative of that. Like for the girl, the friend, she ends up going off with her like psych professor in the afternotes, and I'm like, yeah, that would totally happen to you. Yes, that would have a beautiful young aspirational girl that's going off to college and already has a thing for older men. Yes, you would end up with your professor.
Yeah.
That is accurate.
I was like, that completely makes sense. Gotcha. You know,
I'm sorry that you're such a stereotype that we predicted this.
But I thought it was really funny that like none of the people in the story and like those after things did anything much with their lives.
No, yeah, they hardly move on from that moment too. It doesn't even go very much into the future.
Yeah, like her older brother. Yeah, we spent a whole year with them, and maybe it's like 6 months later, like is the after thing, and it's just like, oh, that's as far as they go, I suppose. They all probably like got married and stayed in town until the day they died or something. Like
they're all buried beside each other in the same plot.
Yeah. Because, I mean, like, even, like, the older brother, they're like, he's like, oh, he's the manager of 7-Eleven a month later. And you're like, like, it's fine if you want to be, if you are a manager of 7-Eleven. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But is that the highest level he reached to? Because it also didn't seem like where he wanted to go or stay. And, like, is there anything more?
That was a weird plot point, too, that he was, like, so focused on him for his career.
Yeah.
And, like... And then his also made me really cringe the relationship he had with his girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And he was basically like trying to like manipulate her into staying in the relationship by like, oh, but I don't know what I could do without you. And I was just like, oh,
but she still broke up with him, so it didn't work.
Good for her.
But I think it's really funny that, like, literally the scene before, he was like, I got to break up with her because I need to be free. It's my last year of school. And then that happens, and he's like, he needs a shoulder to cry on. And then she's like, yeah, I'm good. We're fine. Let's not do this. Didn't get trapped or anything. So that was a good part, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think it was one of those things like, oh, honey, you know, and she stayed and whatever. I'd have been like, oh, come on. You could do better. He would have done better.
Run
away.
Get out. He's going to lock you in the house. He's not going to let you leave.
One thing I didn't realize is Forrest Whitaker was in this movie in one of his first movie roles. He was the one black guy with his brother. He had like 3 words in the whole movie. One of them was a cuss word. And,
wasn't it like his car that got trashed?
It was his car that got trashed. Yeah. Because he doesn't, from the first time you meet him, where he's like, what, don't fucking touch my car or something like that. Yeah. He doesn't say any more words except grimacing at people and looking angry. Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. He asked for Earth, Wind, and Fire tickets. All right. There's one thing. But yeah, he just stands there glaring at people and looking angry the whole time.
Although he's wearing like this like suit, it's like a satin like athletic suit, and with like no shirt underneath, and I was like, that's a bold look for high school, my friend. Like, you look like a straight 30-year-old man in a club right now. But
well, I mean, he was literally a baller, and he's got all the stuff. He's spending the good money on the good leisure suits. Like, he's making it happen. You know, and he's just in high school, and people are just like, damn. Yeah, that's what it's like.
He's hard, man, Forrest. Good for you, Forrest.
And did you also notice Nick Cage in his first theatrical film was in there?
Yeah, he was like a real young guy.
Yeah, he was like he literally flashes on screen for like 3 seconds at a time. And the first time I was like, that was like Nick Cage. Second time I was like, is that Nick Cage?
Nick Cage?
And then I had to look it up. I'm like, oh my god, that is totally Nick Cage. So I thought that was hilarious. I was like, this is amazing. I love it.
I thought it was weird that, like, even though the movie starts and ends in the mall, they are hardly at the mall.
That's true. That is very, very true. But wait, does it have to do...
They're mostly in the restaurant, I guess.
Yeah. Or maybe it's their summer jobs.
Maybe, but they're there like all season because they're there at Christmas and stuff too.
That's right. They are there at Christmas as well. Yeah, I don't know them. I got nothing.
But I just thought it was funny that they show like that interior of the one part of the mall, and I'm like, but wouldn't they like meet each other like
Yeah.
afterwards, or I don't know. I just thought that was odd. I just thought that was a funny part.
Well, no, but I agree with you because I'm like, so they're teenagers who's underage in a time period where the mall was the place to be, but none of them spent any time at the mall except for working at the mall. And I was like,
Yeah.
that seems weird. I totally get it. I totally get it. There was somebody else that it was his first movie. It was Eric Stoltz, the other hippie friend. That was his feature film debut as well.
What's he in later? Do you know anything?
Eric Stoltz?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Why can't I recognize his face. I can't name anything off the top of my head right now for some reason. Like he's one of those people you see him and you're like, oh, it's that guy. Like he almost played Marty McFly.
Oh. Whenever I see the older brother guy, Judge Reinhold, yeah. I'm like, oh, it's a guy from Gremlins, he's a jerk. Every time I see him, I'm like, oh, the Gremlins jerk.
Yeah, it's really weird, like, your first impressions of people when they start popping back in your head. You're like, why is this the thing that I think of?
I know. I'm sure even if I ever meet him in real life, I'm like, fuck you, Gremlins jerk.
Oh, yeah, he was in Pulp Fiction and Mask.
Many things.
And he was also in The Butterfly Effect, one of the other movies we talked about.
Oh, that's so funny.
He's the creepy, abusive father.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, in Pulp Fiction, he's the guy who gives the adrenaline shot, or they go to him to get the adrenaline shot. He's got like 200 credits.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he started there, and he didn't have to do no full nudity.
No. Well, he started in TV, and then this was his first feature film.
Oh, okay.
Yes. He was in the Fall Guy TV show. Oh, I used to love that show as a kid. Seen Elsewhere. What else is he in?
I've been watching reruns of St. Elsewhere. That show's dark.
It is dark. Well, because is St. Elsewhere, that's not the hospital, right? That's the ghetto?
I can't remember. It's like on like the Christian network in the afternoon. It's like it's that, and then there's like some other like procedural. It's a police show. One of them is a hospital, so maybe that is St. Elsewhere.
Maybe. Weird.
It's either that or the police procedural that's in my head, and I can't separate the two right now.
Okay, a guilty pleasure of mine right now is at like 1 a.m. on the Christian channel. They show Doogie Howser and the Wonder Years back to back. Right. I can't not watch that. I'm sorry. This is something I have to look at.
Those are just feel good moments, right?
Exactly.
It's like super
the theme song starts and I'm like, yes, I need to look at you. When I found that out, I thought it was like the greatest moment of my life.
I was watching the other night The Princess Bride with my daughter because she's finally interested in movies that aren't quite children movies.
Great.
And so straight to The Princess Bride. And then Wonder Years Boy, Fred Savage just pops up right in there, and Columbo, and so great. It was so satisfying.
Love it. Did she like it?
Yeah, she liked it.
Nice. Yeah, like I don't even know. I don't even have to ask that. You know the kids are gonna like it. Everybody likes. I don't think I've ever heard a single person say, I don't like The Princess Bride.
That's a fight. That's just a fight that you're gonna lose because you're wrong.
Exactly. And like most of the time, I must admit, I have started fights over movies because people are just flat out wrong. I get it. But I do take people's opinions into consideration, right? Like if I like something and you don't like it, I don't mind having a discussion as to why each other's opinions differ. I have no problem with that. But there are some things that it just doesn't make any sense. It's like saying oh, I don't like breathing. I'm like, you're crazy. You're just a crazy person. Okay? That's with Princess Bride. You don't like Princess Bride. You don't need to exist. Just go away. That's just it.
So you said you didn't. So is that the major reason that you didn't like this movie? Is because of the timing, the way they represented time, or was there something else?
I just didn't like. I don't like the characters. I find the stories really disjointed because of the timing issue. There's no character growth at any point in time, and they kind of just need a different point of discussion.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing that really frustrated about me. It's like, I could see this being a decent film, and I can understand why people liked it when it first came out, because it was something a little bit different.
I'm sure it was like
Um,
pushing boundaries for its time, right?
oh, for
Like
sure.
kids talking about sex candidly and
Mm.
showing just how uneducated they are. Like, but that's like that would have been a very like timely discussion. It still is a timely discussion.
Yeah, but I think my problem is that it doesn't really, it doesn't do anything with it. By the
Oh
time we get
yeah.
to the end of the movie, nobody's learned their lesson. Nobody's learned anything. Everybody's in exactly the same position they were before, and you're just like, okay, and there's literally nothing else anybody else can talk about when you're a teenager. Just sex. Gotcha. Okay,
I
fine.
feel like they were trying to do like the American Graffiti version of like a different time period. I guess this was
Mm.
the 80s version of American Graffiti. So,
Mm-hmm. I mean, I must admit, I haven't seen American Graffiti in a very long time, but I remember enjoying that movie quite a bit as well. But I also remember thinking to myself, there's no point to this movie.
yeah.
Yeah. It's just kind
Or
of,
I guess like if anything, like it made me laugh. Like there were definitely relatable moments as a adult reflecting on their high school experience where I was like, yeah, this is super relatable. It's funny that I would have missed the importance watching this as a kid and
yes.
but like as an adult I'm like, oh yeah, I can see why that's meaningful now. And then yeah, so I thought it was interesting for that reason, being like, yeah, why am I relating so hard with all of these things? Like,
Mhm.
yeah, because nobody frankly had that discussion with me, or no one was like,
No, nobody did. No.
yeah,
Well, and I think the other thing is too is it made me feel very uncomfortable because, especially the girls, they actually, I know they were older, of course, because they had nudity and stuff in the movie. But they actually like look very young.
yeah.
And she's talking about being 15, and her friend lost her virginity at 13, and it's no big deal, and you should just, go out and have sex and stuff. And I was like, but you look like a 15-year-old, and this is grossing me out. It's the only
And
thing I
you're
can
like
think.
meeting this 26-year-old guy in this
Mm.
dingy, dirty place, like,
Yeah. Like, he's not even like, hey, let's go to dinner and chat for a minute first. No, he's like,
no.
where do you want to go? Oh, we're going to go over here. And then they make out and have sex, and you're just like, ew.
Yeah, yeah.
That looks uncomfortable and dirty. You're going to get an infection.
Well, it's so funny because I remember watching this probably as a kid and probably too young to watch it. And
Mm-hmm.
so I remember being a kid and watching it and thinking like, oh, this is what I should expect. I should expect
Mm-hmm.
that I'm going to go to this gross place, that this guy's going to be nasty to me, that they're going to leave me high and dry. And so if anything, I think it made me a more discerning
And
individual because I was
yeah.
like, yeah, I don't trust you. I've seen that road. I also watched Dirty Dancing and I know what's going to happen to
Yeah.
them.
You're like, I've watched all of the movies. I know what to
I
do.
I am an educated 8-year-old and I will not be taken advantage of. And I think that saved me from the bad high school experiences that
Mm,
these kids encounter. And
yeah.
even the same in Dazed and Confused, right? Like,
Yeah.
even though we were probably in high school at that time when we watched that movie, but it was still kind of like, like, yeah, if you're gonna be an asshole, don't get caught. Like,
Yes.
but it had like good lessons, right? Like it was
Mm.
like, yeah, I'm not gonna be the fool that
Exactly. Exactly. Because, like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know what lesson they're trying to tell you not to do. And it's not even that they're bringing it matter-of-factly. But I do understand what you mean about, like, there's certain situations that you definitely understand and can relate to. Just like the general discomfort about being a teenager.
Yeah.
Like, and especially the like, you're just generally insecure at that point in time in your life because, you know, your body's changing and your mind is changing and you're trying to figure out what to do with yourself, and at a certain point you look like an adult but you're treated like a child because you're a teenager, and you know, all that kind of stuff. So,
And the level of information is so poor, and you're getting bad advice from your friends. Like, there were no mentions, I think, of like condoms at any point in this movie, even though they talked about sex extensively.
So,
they didn't mention like diseases. I mean, they dealt with pregnancy, but like she could have gotten AIDS.
It's true, she really could have, but I don't think. But even at that, like, this came out.
This would have been at the height of the AIDS crisis, and they didn't even talk about it. Like
in 82.
Well, or like, yeah, wasn't it? Or I don't know. It was still pretty major in the early 80s.
It was in the early 80s, yeah, for sure. But I still think it wasn't. It's either something that they were blindsided with, and they were just like, "Oh, that's happening, but we've already made the movie. Here's the movie," or they were just like, "That's not something that happens to young white people in the suburbs."
I guess so.
You know,
they hadn't yet experienced opioids to know that anything can affect them.
Exactly, right?
I guess the question is, like, would this movie be made again like this? Because I don't think it would be.
Yeah, but there's movies like this that have been made since then, but they do at least talk about, they're a lot darker, they do talk about, like, uses of condoms and people getting sick and all that kind of stuff. I mean, like, the lighter version would be something like American Pie or whatever, and like the dark version would be something like Kids, which is such a gross movie. It just disturbs me that they made that movie in the first place. But that's kind of aging myself. I should think of something newer.
What about Sex Education?
The show Sex Education is actually a really good example of that. It's an excellent show, by the way.
So good.
But it is still teenagers talking to teenagers instead of talking to people who actually have information for them. But like, at least...
Yeah, it's already changed so much in terms of like who's speaking, who's included, whose story gets told. So it's like a million times different than Fast Times.
Exactly. But it's also shocking how much more information the kids have, how much information they have access to, and their ability to actually take care of themselves. Where, as I find Fast Times, it's like they had no ability to really take care of themselves, and they had no information. And besides talking to each other about their horrible experiences, they didn't do anything.
Or I do like that, even though it was kind of brushed under the carpet, she was able to go to a free clinic and obviously speak to somebody and obviously get the advice that she needed. And I like showing like that level of like the American healthcare system, because I bet you that even operates very differently today, right? With the amount of defunding they've experienced.
And they're going out of their way to try to shut down a lot of these clinics and stuff, because they're like, oh, you're just killing babies. But a lot of those clinics are not just abortion clinics.
These are just health issues.
They're just health issues. And so, like, some of those clinics, they might be abortion clinics. They might do abortions at those clinics, but they also have OBGYNs in there for people who are actually having babies, or they have, somebody has like a uterine cancer or something. They'll have a doctor in there for that. They'll have, if you have an infection or something, you go in and see somebody who'll help you take care of it. So it's not just the one thing. That's just a service they provide. And then if you shut them down, then you have this whole other segment of people who can't get access to the care that they actually need. And that's the depressing part of it.
And then some rich doctor's daughter is going to have to substitute as a dancer because somebody got a botched abortion.
Oh, God. Oh, it's so dark. Why are we laughing? It's funny because it's true.
Anyways, I'm just very happy that, I don't know, I thought the movie was more shallow. Like my impressions of it were more shallow, and then I was surprised to see the hidden gems there. I was like, oh, there's actually like real consequences that are happening, even if they're not long-term ones, but just and very relatable ones about like the whole like when it made me laugh. The two girls are holding like a giant sausage and they're cutting into it and they're asking, well, how long does your partner last? Like, and I'm like 30 to 40 minutes. I'm like, well, how long does yours? 15 to 20. And I'm like, and at no
that's
point,
good for a high school boy. And you're like,
yeah, exactly. At no point is there any mention of like their satisfaction or like, well, make sure you use lube and here's a condom. Like, there's just so much more.
And that's the thing. Both of their discussions, like, they do talk about sex the whole time, but they never talk about themselves.
Yeah.
The only time they talk about themselves is when she loses her virginity and she's like, it hurts so much. And that's the only time they talk about themselves. Every other time it's like, how to give a blowjob. I hope it lasts long enough. You know, did he come? Did he do this? And you're just like, what about you?
What about you? Do you know you get something from this? But I think it showed that too, and I thought that part was very relatable, just by how clueless they were about like, and they didn't know even if they had climaxed or not.
I know.
It's just like,
she was like, oh, when we climax together, he makes you climax. He's like,
I think
yes. I'm like, trust me, you're gonna know.
No, that's not it.
If you got a question, it's not. It hasn't happened. You've lost, unfortunately. One of the other things, okay, this has nothing to do with sex and nothing to do with the actual story, but one of the things that was driving me crazy in both of these movies, I guess it's a testament to the time period the movies take place in, was not a single person in any of these movies wore a seatbelt at any point in time, and it was driving me nuts. And I don't know if that means I'm old or I'm just astute or what, but I was just like, why aren't you wearing a seatbelt? There is a child in that backseat. Why is he wearing a seatbelt? What's going on?
Yeah. And the smoking everywhere, that bothered me too.
Yes.
Like, even when they're in the video arcade, they're smoking. And I'm like, why are they smoking? There's children there. And I was like, calm down. Calm down.
It was 1982. They were allowed to smoke.
Or do that back then.
Taking the people's tickets to go in the movie theater. He's like, smoking section is upstairs to the right or whatever. And I was like,
yeah, ew.
Oh. Well, we all did that. We used to go to like bars and clubs and restaurants and
planes.
Oh my God. I remember when we used to go clubbing all the time, and we would go and I'd come home and I would literally have to just take off my clothes.
Yeah.
And I couldn't put them in a closet. I had to put them somewhere separate, so they just wouldn't stink up everything else. And like the next day, you had to like do a full shower just to get the smell out of your skin.
And even like your hair, like it stayed in your hair for days.
Yeah, and the idea of that now just is revolting.
Oh yeah,
absolutely revolting. I don't know how we did it. I have no idea. It makes no sense.
I think we must have been like. Well, it must have been everywhere. So, like, our sensitivity to it wasn't as high as it is now because it's nowhere.
Yeah, you know, and like now I passed someone who was there maybe a minute ago who was smoking, and I smell it. I'm just like, oh my God, people are so disgusting.
Oh,
oh my God, jeez.
Oh, guys.
One of the other things I found really funny in this movie is when Mr. Hand is handing out the tests and they get it and they just sniff it right away. The photocopy smell, I remember doing that. That was great. Fresh, warm photocopies.
You don't still do that?
Well, no. I literally don't work anywhere that prints anything or does photocopies. So I don't get pieces of paper in my hand on a regular basis anymore. Unfortunately.
Makes me sad for you.
I know, tears. But also, I think they actually changed the technology. So I think the papers are warm, but I don't think you get that smell anymore.
I just got a new printer for the pandemic. It's my pandemic printer.
Mm-hmm.
And it totally smells.
Yeah, and you're just like, I'm just gonna.
I don't love the toner smell. Like, it's not my jam. I'd rather much go like dirt or gasoline is more my wheelhouse.
No, gasoline gives me a headache.
Or Sharpie. I like a good Sharpie.
Yeah. Oh,
Even whiteout. I don't know why whiteout's so
yeah.
good smelling.
Remember we used to have those markers as kids that had the different like smell, like the licorice and the
Oh
chocolate
yeah,
and the
totally.
which gave you the same high. It just didn't smell like regular markers.
But
So you
then you
just
get like pink at the end of your nose because you go to town on that strawberry.
sniffing it all day. You're like, yes, this is so
Ah!
good.
Ooh. The telltale marker
Uh,
color on the end of the nose.
exactly. I guess
My
that's
first drug.
I know, right? My God, I was lucky. Chocolate was my favorite. I'm brown. It was
Oh,
brown. You couldn't tell.
dreams.
Dreams. I love that. Oh no. What else? What else about Fast Times? Also, the blowjob technique they were talking about looked really gross and uncomfortable.
I thought that was weird that it was like, I don't think girls that age would be that confident to have that discussion publicly. Like, they would definitely do it, but it would only be like in the sanctity of like a bedroom or no one was anywhere because
Yeah. Well, because
I thought
even their discussion later on, where they are in their bedroom, they were giving each other facials or whatever. Like I sat there looking at, I'm like, this reminds me of like Sex in the City. Like they're 45-year-olds complaining about being jilted and they're not married yet. Like that's what they sounded like. You are 15 years old. Why are these discussions you're having while you're putting makeup on each other? Like it just doesn't make any sense.
and I did think like a lot of the actors like looked more older than they were supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like the other guy, the one that ended up knocking up the sister.
Oh, him, yes.
He looked like a 30-year-old man.
He looked old.
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
like he had like the lines and everything on his face,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was just like very peculiar. That I was like, why are they? No, you're 30. Like stop pretending. And even like when she went on the date with the 26-year-old, even though he was only supposed to be 26, he had this like coat, and she was complimenting it. I was like, please, that's something my dad would have that coat.
Exactly. I don't know, man. It was very confusing to me. But apparently that guy was only like 6 or 7 months older than Jennifer Jason Leigh in like real life. He's not actually 26 years old or whatever. And I was shocked. I was like, oh my God, why does he look so much older though? That seems weird to me. But yeah, he was gross though. He was so creepy. Like
Maybe it was the smoking and the names they were giving them. They were like Doug and Don, and I was like, yeah, those are like old dude names. Like those aren't young guy names.
yeah, because those are the names of our parents.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why. And that's the point in time. Oh no, my parents were older at that point in time, so it's fine. You know, it's
Mine would
okay.
have been about that age. I think they were in their 20s. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, we haven't even talked about Dazed and Confused that much. Now I think about it.
No, not yet.
Skipped right over and just talked right out Fast
Okay, sorry.
Times.
We'll go back to Dazed and Confused.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I was actually surprised. I liked this quite a bit more than I remember liking it originally. Like I remember liking it, but I don't remember liking it this much. I found it very. I guess the whole point of it is that it is nostalgic, but I did like it a lot more than Fast Times.
You did like it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, like I already like it was already more of a my favorite going into this, but like I don't know, I guess like I kind of realized like, yeah, I've seen this movie a lot. I guess it's kind of cliche. I guess it's kind of like, I don't know, it was just it wasn't as big of a surprise as watching the other one. So, but I love the soundtrack in both movies.
The soundtrack is crazy.
And this one, and more so in Dazed and Confused, it's just so good.
Well, because this one, Dazed and Confused, they had 29 songs. Because there was no scenes where it was quote unquote original, like just like score. It was always a song playing from the 70s, and everything was from the right time period. Because I went through the trouble of being like, what really was this out at this time? Was this out? Are you sure?
Yeah.
You know? And they were, and apparently they used a sixth of the budget just on the music, and that is a huge amount of money, like percentage wise, just for music, for all the licensing.
I mean, that movie wouldn't be that movie without the soundtrack, right?
It wouldn't be.
it's like so much of it is just like perfectly synced up scenes with like
Yeah.
these awesome kind of powerhouse rock ballads.
Songs, yeah.
And, like, yeah.
Oh, they had Bob Dylan and War and Alice
So many.
Cooper.
Just like powerful songs.
Yeah.
Smoke on the Water.
Yeah, it was so good. They even had like Peter Frampton playing in the car at one point in time, and
yeah. Aerosmith.
Aerosmith. It was so good. I actually like was listening to all the songs, like writing down like what year it came out, what album it was on, and all that kind of stuff. And then after like the 8th song, I was like, "This is too much. I can't." Every 3 seconds, there's a different song, and I'm like, I can't follow.
There's
this.
a lot of music in that one.
So much music in it. But I love, as soon as every single one of the songs started, though, I was like, "Yes, this is so good." I know.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I think I had the soundtrack at one point, and I enjoyed that a lot as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's kind of like the mixtape in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, it's just such a solid grouping of like classic like rock songs that you're just like people just like it. It gets you in a mood. It gets you in a state of mind, and you just kind of go with it. You know what I mean?
They're fun.
Mm-hmm. But I think the thing about this movie, the reason why you're not surprised that much about it, is that there's nothing hard hitting in the movie, if you know what I mean.
No.
Right? Whereas like Fast Times, you know, like there's sex, there's abortion, there's, you know, lack of education, there's this complete uncomfortableness. It's sort of the general, you know, one night to not necessarily to change your life, but one night to see the world differently.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of like different experiences through the eyes of other people. And I kind of liked the ease of it that way. But also I think because it's in one night, it was, the timeline didn't really matter as much, so it seemed less disjointed. And I actually kind of liked the characters more. Like, you knew the people you were supposed to dislike, and you knew the people you were supposed to like, and then there was like everybody else was just sort of in between. And then there were like the people you were following, and you're just like, oh, I can actually see a progression in your attitude. I can see how you're changing a little bit here, and you know, you can see how this is affecting you over here, kind of thing. So I don't know. I think like the movie character-wise did more in a shorter period of time than Fast Times did in like a year.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the characters are definitely more varied, and there's more. I don't know. I really like the trio of nerdy friends.
I love them. They're great.
Yeah, they're like the best part, and like, and their storyline is very funny and relatable as well. Like they end up just getting in fights and being awkward.
One thing I found. So there's 2 things about the trio of nerds that I really, really enjoyed. So Maricia Ribisi, who is the redhead girl who's part of the nerds, is Giovanni Ribisi's twin sister, which I had never known.
Oh, that is so funny! I didn't know that either.
Yeah, because her name came up on in the credits, and I was like, Ribisi, is he related? Twin sister, and I was like, this is crazy. I would never have guessed. I don't find they look alike in any way, shape, or form. And then I have to do this, Sarah. I'm really sorry. Anthony Rapp is in there. He's my Star Trek connection. He's on Star Trek.
He's amazing. He's so funny and like awkward. I love Anthony Rapp.
Yeah,
he's so funny in this movie. I love. They're so funny.
Yeah, I just enjoy his like general. You know, I'm this like really conservative individual, and I know like I can see the lies in the world around me, but at the same time he's got this like hippie hair, and he's like, yeah, I'm cool, man, I'm cool. Oh, look at that girl, she's hot. Yeah, I'm gonna play cool. You know, and it's like that weird like juxtaposition, you know what I mean? And I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, there's like so many, and like what's his name? Mr. Matthew McConaughey, like this is his first movie ever, and like he's so funny. He steals every scene, even if it's like the most minimal lines. Like his lines aren't like earth shattering or whatever, but like he steals every scene, and he is just so funny. Like, why is it that we remember every single one of his lines? Like, I find that embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, I think that was a testament of how good he is and why he had a career after this, right? Because like, first of all, it's the first time you get his all right, all right, all right. And it's the first thing out of his mouth, and it has never dropped from his career or his personality. That's just part of who he is now.
It's so unfair.
It's just so unfair. He does say, though, the creepy line,
Yeah, the high school girls.
The high school girls, they say the same, I get older, but they stay the same age, which just gives me shivers every time, and not in like a good way, in a horrible, we're going to find kids in your basement way. I hate that line so much. It drives me crazy, but I can understand why that was, quote unquote, a cool thing to say at the time.
Can I tell you something that will make you feel better about that line?
Yes.
So I've reclaimed that line as my own, and I work at a school with high school girls.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's funny for me to tell my colleagues, those high school girls, I just keep getting older and they stay the same age. So now it's not as creepy.
It's definitely not as creepy when you say it
right?
that way.
You have to claim it as your own and redefine it.
Exactly. Okay. Let me think about it that way. Gotcha.
Like, just find your situation where you can make that happen and you'd be like, no, this isn't a creepy statement if I say it like this.
I got to take it that way for sure. I mean, I think his character is only supposed to be like 3 years out of high school or whatever, which isn't too far. But he's looking at all of the high school girls, not just the seniors, the freshmen as well.
The girls in grade 9.
Yeah. And they're like, oh my God, that's such a, because like he's the type of character that is obviously stuck in a point in his life, right?
Yeah.
Cool kid in high school. Everything in high school was great. And he's complaining that he works at like the DMV or something.
Yeah.
And, he works for the man. But he hangs out with high school kids who worship him as much as he can.
Yeah, because he represents adulthood to them.
To them, yeah. And to him, they are like the recapturing of this greatness that he had in his youth. And he is the guy who will be doing that till he's 50 years old. And then you do have the high school kids who are like, you're not cool, you're creepy, go home. It's that kind of level. Those people exist, unfortunately, and you don't, like, most of the time they're harmless. You just kind of feel sad for them because once you get stuck in a situation like that, nothing in your life feels better. Nothing in your life lets you grow or, get past this point. You're just stuck until you die. And you just kind of feel sad for people like that at a certain point instead of them being like weird, like creepy. But it happens.
He's still in the endearing phase.
Yes, he's still in the endearing.
My favorite line from him in this movie is something like when the grade 9 kid, the brand new grade 9 kid, gets in the car with him and he asks him, like, you got any weed? Be a lot cooler if you did.
You know what's funny? As soon as he said that, I was just like, I had this flash in my head of people saying that to me or seeing it in other movies, and I'm like, oh my God, this is where that's from, isn't it? And I was like, oh my God, everything is just a reference to something else now. That's just our society at this point. And I just found
out that Good Day, Sir comes from Willy Wonka. I said good day, sir.
Gene Wilder says it. Yeah. Oh, I love it. Yeah. But the thing is, Good Day, Sir shows up in especially a lot of sitcoms where people are being sassy to one another. And you're just like, okay.
For the longest time, I had no idea what that was about. I was just like, this old-timey reference? Haha. Like, what is this? Like,
I'm telling you, all of these references at some point in time are going to just get lost on people. And they're just going to be like, oh, I'm so witty. I said this myself. I'm like, or they're like, oh, somebody's going to say, my mama used to say. And you're like, that's Forrest Gump, dude. You're like, no, that's what my mom used to say. Like, no, it's from Forrest Gump, guys.
You know this deep down.
But I think that happens not just in movies and TV shows. It also happens in like in music as well, because there's so many like remixes and revamps and all that kind of stuff of just like songs coming back and people just redoing it, just like, you know, movies, you know.
Yeah, there's
And
constant like references in music to other music.
yeah, and so it shouldn't be surprising, but every once in a while I'm like, I hear a song and I'm like, oh shit, that's where they got that hook from. Okay, that makes so much sense now. You
Yeah,
know?
like I just found out, or maybe this is a couple years ago, but there was like a Zeppelin sample in the Godzilla movie from the 90s with Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, it's the guitar thing. Da-da-da, da-da-da,
Yep.
da-da. Yeah,
Just,
that part. Yeah.
yeah, didn't know
I'm
that
sorry.
about that until recently.
That was a Puff Daddy song.
I know. I knew it as the Puff Daddy song. And then I was like listening to some Led Zeppelin. I was like, oh my God, did they like? And I'm like, oh, I have to get my time right. Wait a minute, it's coming together.
Coming together now, you know. This is like Wild Wild West was a redoing of a Kool Moe Dee song, which a lot of people didn't know about. We're like, yeah, that song was done before. That whole beat was done before. There's so much stuff out there that's like, oh, well, there's a song on the radio right now that pisses me off because every time I hear it, I'm like, it's the original, and it's not. And it's not going to come to my head right now, which is kind of
Is
fine.
it the Ariana Grande? I want it. I got it. Because it's a few of my favorite things, and every time I'm like, oh, a few of my favorite things.
Oh,
Damn
that
you,
one!
Ariana.
Yes, there's that one. That's not the one I was thinking of. But yes, that one also annoys me as well because why are you ruining Sound of Music? Like, what is your problem?
What's your problem against the Nazis? Let's bring them
Exactly.
down together, Ariana.
Jeez. Auf Wiedersehen. God. But yeah, like that's the thing. At this point in time, there really isn't. People are finding creative ways to create new content, yes, but nothing is really original anymore. Everything seems to be a reference to something else or a redoing of something that was done before in some way, shape, or form, whether they mean to or not, because it's probably something that's, you know, sorry, hold on, there's fire trucks happening. What was I saying? I don't even remember what I was saying anymore now.
Remakes of remakes.
Oh,
But both of these
yes.
movies were kind of both like, I feel like one influenced the other for sure. Like Dazed and Confused was probably influenced by this and a little bit of American Graffiti.
Oh, for sure. Yes. And especially like all of those John Hughes movies that came out and all that kind of stuff were definitely an influence on that. But I think this one, Richard Linklater wrote this one, Dazed and Confused. Hold on. Yeah, Cameron Crowe wrote Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And he's all about drawing from his experiences because, especially with movies like Almost Famous, which is one of his quintessential movies, and I think also that movie influenced a lot of other movies like it as well, right?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the same thing, and especially in the most of the 80s where they started to figure out, oh yeah, teenagers are a proper demographic to sell things to. And that's when they started making all of those movies for teenagers and that kind of like mid-ground age group. And then they turned into like body sex comedies like Porky's and stuff. I don't know. And Can't Buy Me Love. And what other cheesy ones are there? Pretty in Pink.
Breakfast Club?
But is the Breakfast Club cheesy or is it quintessential?
Yes.
Cheesy?
Claire.
No, but so my thing about movies like Breakfast Club is, are those movies cheesy or have they become cheesy because of all of their references to it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's like it's an identifiable moment, right? Like, so it's cheesy in that it kind of reflects your own experience in a little tiny way, but it's also like cheesy in that I think people know that we're indulging ourselves by watching these kinds of movies to be like,
for sure.
Yeah, like we're reliving, not necessarily reliving glory, but we're definitely being nostalgic and like looking in the past and like reflecting.
Well, because you end up, especially with the Breakfast of Champions, with the Breakfast Club, you have five distinct characters who literally label themselves at the end of the movie, and everybody who's watching the movie picks which label relates to them the most.
Yeah,
right?
or
So,
like there's like definitely, and again, I think highlighting the awkwardness, like not all of the moments in those movies are perfect either. Like there's definitely like there's some weird tension and this is some deep shit. But I think
there's a dance sequence in the middle.
There's a weird dance montage, but that's just they're trying to take on their own passage of time issues.
Yes. Oh yeah.
How many dance montages of your own teenage life would you include in your movie, Tracy?
In my movie, let's see. So there's that one in elementary school. At least one of the video dance parties we had in high school.
Nice.
We got to do 107 and Jack's Backyard.
Lots of dance montages.
That's only 4 for my whole life, so that's actually pretty good. That's pretty good. That's not too bad. Yes. I think I'm thinking pretty good with 4. 4 will do. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure my movie can't be a movie because it has to be sung, so it'll be an opera or a musical for sure.
I can see being a musical for sure,
but not necessarily include abortion.
Okay, good. Okay,
just because I don't want to like highlight that as a plot story in my own life.
In your own life, yeah. No, I get that, because I mean, I don't think all musicals include abortions. I just think if you have an abortion, it should be a musical. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Yes.
Truth.
Yes.
Law.
Yeah. But guess what? I would see your movie biography musical. I would watch it.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be solid. It'll be very like Lucy in the Sky, or like Across the Universe.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the way I'm going. That and a combination of Reefer Madness.
Okay. Okay, so this is something that needs to happen.
Yeah.
Now, okay? Based on this description alone, this needs to happen, all right?
It's going to be funny. It's going to have really catchy songs, and you'll probably be able to sing along with parts of it.
Yes. I like this whole idea. Great. I love it. Actually, now that I think about it, I've never watched Across the Universe. All I know is that it's Beatles songs.
It's enjoyable. Like, it is an enjoyable treatment. It's like they try to integrate the songs into the narration in the story. Mm-hmm. So it's like a part of the action. It's not just like we're stopping to sing and deliver. It's like a very much of like the song is speaking as the transition of time. The song is speaking as a hallucinogenic moment. Like the songs have purpose. So it makes it like it makes it good.
Okay, I like it because that reminds me of the Elton John Rocket Man biography then. Because that's one of the reasons why I think that worked better than the Freddie Mercury one. Not just the fact that all of the timelines were wrong, but they integrated the songs into the story, and it was like transitional points that worked really well. Whereas I find with the Freddie Mercury one, it was just here's a song, and here's another song, and here's a song. And the thing is that makes me angry about it is while you're watching the movie, you don't realize it because you're just like, I like this song and I'm going to sing to this song while I'm in the movie. You're like, yes! And then the movie's over and you're just like, oh, that wasn't really good though. I did like when they played that song though.
I liked it when they played that song.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt about, so I still haven't watched either of those movies, even though I love both of those artists.
Mm-hmm.
But I went to go see We Will Rock You when it was in Toronto.
Yeah.
And it was all Queen music, but it was so disappointed.
Oh, really?
Because kind of same thing. Like, I was like, I love that moment where you sang that song, but the rest of it, I don't know what happened, and I don't remember.
That is not a good thing. That is not a good thing. Oh my God. I mean, I don't know. I like definitely watch both of them. You'll enjoy watching both of them. but you will enjoy the actual storytelling aspect of Rocketman better than Queen.
Nice.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. Just letting you know. But yeah. Anyways, so Dazed and Confused, yeah. I was shocked at how many people were in this movie.
Yeah.
I remember there being a lot of people in this movie, but I was shocked at how many people were in this movie still, including this is like Ben Affleck's second movie or something like that after Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that was Mallrats after this?
I want to say yes. I do want to say yes because this was like super early in his career. Where is he, Ben Affleck? He's not even at the top. He's like 15th in the listing here.
He was such a jackass in that movie. He made me so angry.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, most of his early characters, he just played an asshole.
Yeah.
And that includes Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That includes this. Includes Mallrats. Includes Chasing Amy. He was also in, like, School Ties. He was the worst. Like, it's like so much stuff. You're just like, oh my god. Yeah.
Maybe he just is an asshole.
Dazed and Confused was 2 years before Mallrats. Yeah. Yeah, so in his early career, I was like, oh, you're just playing a dick. All right, that's what you do. And then he did... I watched Good Will Hunting once in my life. I remember not liking it. I don't remember what kind of character he played in Good Will Hunting, though. And then there was Armageddon, where he played, like...
I don't remember which...
the savior. So, I guess that's when his career turned around a little bit.
And isn't Milla... what's her name?
Jovovich.
Yeah, she's in it too.
She's in it as well. There's that part at the end where they're in like the forest or whatever, and they're drinking, and she's playing like a song to like the High Kids. Yeah. It's actually a song off of her album. It's not a 70s song.
Oh.
Yeah, I looked that up because I was like, I don't know what this song is. It was a song off of her personal album.
Oh.
Like, all right, that's great.
Fine then.
Sure.
Well, they had so much other music.
Yes, exactly. Who was it? Parker Posey was in that movie. She didn't play a very nice girl in that.
Oh yeah, she was the one in the jeans that was like...
Yeah, who kept calling everybody bitch all the time.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff.
That's what I was going to say. The what bitch girl?
Air raid. Oh, she's yelling, air raid! And you'd have to get on the ground and stuff.
Yes. She's in the new Swiss Family Robinson in space.
Mm-hmm.
And she's the bad guy, and she's a really good bad guy in that show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I watched like 1.5 episodes, and I just couldn't get into it.
It gets, I don't know, I liked it. It was a good, like, family-friendly space adventure. Yeah. So I could, like, watch it with my kid in the room, and it wasn't going to traumatize her.
Maybe I should give it another try.
It is good. And the robot's really cool. And the second season, it's like all these robot fights that are really cool. So you'll like it.
Okay.
You like Anthony Rapp, and you like...
I like things with robots, I must admit. Yes. I watched Forbidden Planet for the first time like 2 weeks ago. And I was shocked how well that movie aged.
Oh, I love that movie.
It's
the animated one?
No. This is a live action one from 1950 something, where they're like in space and they go to a planet to check on a colony that's there, and they find out everybody's dead except for this scientist and his daughter or whatever. Yeah. The only thing that really got to me is every time the daughter came around, like they made her change the way she was dressing. Because every time the daughter came around, all of the guys that were on the ship were just like, we've been on a ship for months and we're all men. So you know what that means. I was just like, why?
That's weird. Why is that her problem? That sounds like your problem.
Yeah. At one point in time, somebody pulls her aside and was like, you know what? You come around here looking like this in front of these men, and you know what they'll do? You know what? You'll just deserve it. And I was like, what? I was like, and then from that point on, because she was on a planet with just her and her father. She wore whatever she wants and she makes it. And she's like, what's wrong with what I'm wearing? It's something I made and I thought it was pretty. And then from that point on, she wore things that were like literally from like her neck to the ground, and that was it. And we're just like, so you can't control yourself. I have to change everything about my existence to make you happy. Whatever. But other than that,
happens though. That still happens.
That still happens today. But other than that, it's a great space adventure.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, I'm glad. I mean, I love those little moments when they come up in films because I'm like, yes, there is a time and a place, even if it's in a weird space adventure, to acknowledge the weird treatment that women endure on a daily basis.
It's weird and creepy and uncomfortable, and the fact that it had been accepted for so long is just so gross. Gross, I tell you. And that comes up in like these two movies, which it's a direct interaction, but like in Fast Times, the girls are just seen as sex objects. Everybody's like, oh, I'm good. Like, they see a pretty girl, like, I'm going to do her. They don't say hi, except for the one guy who's like, I like her, and tries to talk to her. Everybody else is like, she's hot, I'm going to do her. And it's the same thing in Dazed and Confused as well, is every girl is hot. And the only girl that actually, like, talks a lot through it is the nerd girl, the redhead, Mauricia Ribisi. She's with the nerd group, and she actually says intelligent words throughout the whole thing and not torturing other people.
Yeah, it was, I think that's probably why she's my favorite, or, like, part of my favorite movie. It's because it's like, oh, the real person having the real experiences. Like, not to say that, like, yeah, I'm never going to identify with the girl, the hot girl, or whatever storyline. Yeah. I'm like, I never see myself there. But I'm like, yes, the nerd girl in the corner with these weird guys that aren't attacking her, I'm down for that.
Yeah. But the funny thing is that they kept her realistic, though. Like, because when the Matthew McConaughey character is like, hey, how's it going? We're going to have a party over here. And he's like, you should come, you know? And he's like, come and ride with us. I'm with these guys. It'd be better if you came with us. But she's all flattered and flustered after about it.
That's true.
I'm like, because it shows that she
probably never would get attention.
Yeah, she'd never get attention like that. But B, she's also, there's nothing wrong with liking getting a little attention. He wasn't overly aggressive. He wasn't rude. He wasn't derogatory. He was just like, you're kind of hot. You should come hang out with us. But still, she wasn't like, she's not like the idea of a feminist right now, which is just like, I hate men and anything you say to me is a horrible thing. She's a feminist as in she knows she's a woman, she knows what she wants, and she knows what she expects, but there's nothing wrong with getting a little attention as well.
Yeah. Like, I even hate myself as a human being for, like, how charmed I am by Matthew McConaughey to this day. It's my guilt. I have guilt from it, and I don't know why. But I'm like, yeah, I would be charmed as hell if he had throw those lines my way.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was thinking exactly the same thing. I was like, oh, that's girly. It's so true.
Even though it was never my objective ever in high school to be like, oh, I'm gonna be so hot today. Look at me, everyone.
Yeah. But every once in a while, when you get hollered, I'll be like, hey, girl. Ah! You're like, oh,
oh, thank you.
It's just when you get the whole, why don't you smile more? Or you get some sort of like the gross, oh my God. No, I've had some gross things yelled at me, and I'm just like, that's not how you do it. I don't feel flattered.
I just always like it when you get that kind of attention, and it's always just like about them more than it is anything to do with you. Because like often I find in those moments, like I'm really like, I don't know, I'm like having raging cramps that day or something like that. And then you get like this one person trying to say this offhanded thing, and you're going to interpret it and internally explode. And I was just like, this guy has no idea that I'm experiencing the death of a million suns in my uterus right now.
Yeah.
Like, but you just didn't feel unashamed to blurt whatever it was, the first thing that came into your head, out of your mouth, into my face. And I was like,
but even if you weren't, why do you think that was something that you needed to say?
Yeah. It endlessly ceases to amaze me
Mm-hmm.
that these experiences repeat themselves. I even
Yeah.
had like one happen to me online recently, and it was like, I know, it was the weirdest thing. And so this person was like confessing all of their whatever their emotions to me, and I hadn't said a single thing, and I hadn't talked to this person in probably 12 years. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what fantasy have you spun in your head that I'm this available person to you, that
Yeah.
you obviously know nothing about my present situation or care what my emotions are right now,
Yeah.
sir?
Because it's about them, not about you,
Yeah, it's
right?
about, yeah, that's, and
Yeah.
so yeah, that's how I encounter those experiences now. And I'm like, what happened
Yeah.
in your day that made you feel so entitled to say
Say
this to
this,
me?
yeah. I don't know. I guess the thing is too is movies and TV have always taught no, you need to tell them. If you don't tell them, they won't know. You just need to tell them. I'm like, nah, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you can just
No,
keep that to
don't.
yourself.
Please
We don't
don't.
need
We're
to go.
asking.
Yeah. You're like, I didn't need to know any of this. I'm not gonna thank you. I'm not gonna be okay with this. Go away. Can we
If you
not?
have an opinion about my face, kindly keep it to yourself.
Yourself. Yes. Ugh. Or I stopped posting pics. Like I give myself manicures and pedicures, and I stopped posting pictures of my feet because, oh my god, the random comments you'd get if I posted my toenails, it was just
What, like gross
inappropriate.
things?
Oh yes,
Oh
oh
God.
yes. There were lots of comments about sucking toes and where my foot should be and all that kind of.
Oh
And I'm just
God.
like,
These are
really,
toes, people. How are you
really,
interpreting this as something sexual?
yeah. I'm like, I'm not. Like everybody's allowed their own kink. I get it, but
I
still,
have feet. I exist.
yeah, like that's it. That's all that this picture is saying. Feet and I exist. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay? Keep
Guess
that
what?
business to
My
yourself.
feet that and I exist and I have feet and I've painted my toenails.
Oh, and I thought this was a very innocent picture. You're not even seeing my whole foot. Like I don't even understand what's happening right now.
What is happening? How are you so
So
deprived in your life that this is
yeah,
the thing that's gonna charge you up?
yeah, yeah. So it goes to show, like, just about anything out there can give people the wrong message, apparently. I don't get it. It's fine.
Well, take a lesson from Forbidden Planet and
Mm.
better watch what you wear. Put on those feet, Tracy.
Yeah, I gotta wear clothing that go from
Men
my
can't
neck
help themselves,
to my feet. Yes.
as
They
we
can't,
learned from Space Adventures.
yeah. They don't have to control themselves. We have to control ourselves for them.
Well, I haven't worn
Yes.
a real bra in I don't know how many days, and I'm not going to anytime soon. So
Trust me, you're not the only one. It's fine. Yeah.
people are gonna have to keep themselves restrained.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Most of like I'm going through like Instagram or whatever. Every time I follow a lot of like comic artists and stuff, and like a lot of them are female, and all of them are about like I haven't put on clothes for like 12 days. I haven't done this in like 16 days. Look how hairy my legs are, and I'm like, I'm with you, sister. It's fine.
Oh yeah, that's everyone right now.
It's so great. Yeah. You're
Although
not.
I'm oddly obsessed with watching drag queen makeup tutorials and um and because like I have time right now to like I have like a bunch of makeup stuff and so I'm like, oh my god, I'm totally testing out this look. So I'm
Yeah.
like testing the contouring and then I like go into my Zoom meetings.
And what
And
kind of reaction?
I look really great on the Zoom meetings, but like in real life my face looks jacked up.
At least you're having fun with it. That's the key.
It's kind of funny. I just want to keep like elevating it until the point where I have 14 pairs of like eyelashes on and people still like haven't seen the transition's been so gradual that they like didn't even
They're
notice.
like, that's just Sarah. Like, I don't understand what you're talking
So
about.
she looks like that every day. God.
Yeah. Jeez.
Like that contouring on the nose, that's just a day-to-day thing.
Yeah. I mean, wow. But, we're just used to it. It's fine.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
I feel like we've gotten far off topic.
Sorry.
It's okay. I wasn't helping. I wasn't steering you back at any point in time. But okay, well, I mean, I think that's probably it. We had like a good deep discussion about both of these.
Yeah, I mean, I still enjoy both these movies
Movies.
very much, and I probably will watch them again. I'll
Yeah.
definitely watch Ridgemont High, Fast Times. I didn't remember how much I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it more than I thought it was. I think it's because it had like the sister and the brother storyline that it had like, I like that had like that dichotomy. It wasn't just, because if it was just him, then I would have been like, the jerky gremlins guy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get you. I get you.
Then I enjoyed Dazed and Confused too, because it's such like a fun, like cool music, and like the car, like I'm not a huge Cars fan, but like that's a cool element of the movie, and the relatable part for that one for me was like how they make like 500 different stops in the course of the night, and they still really manage to do nothing.
And yes,
it's just like, that's very high school.
That is very high school, because there's nowhere for you to go. You don't have any money to spend if you go somewhere, so you just got to figure stuff out, like sitting in a Tim Hortons parking lot or something.
Yeah, or you're drinking in like a field area
somewhere,
but no one's really drinking because like you still got to drive somewhere, and like, and you couldn't afford that much booze anyways. You could only ask the guy to pick out 1, 2, 4 for you.
Yeah. Oh, the shared experience we've had, Sarah.
That would be our high school movie. We'd be like, the whole movie would just be us outside of an LCBO trying to get somebody to buy us a case of beer, and then everyone says no.
And then we end up sitting in a park somewhere, and then we go get Timbits at Tim Hortons, and then sit in that park.
And it's just like us running into other groups of like kids our age
trying to do exactly the same thing. Yeah. And then we'd end up in each like your basement or something, and then I'd go home, and then that would be it.
Yeah, maybe eat some chips. Maybe we'd go to like the bulk food section of the grocery store and buy some candy.
Yes, get some candy. Mm-hmm. I remember doing that. I was like, that was a good night. What are you talking about? That shit was killer.
That was a pretty typical Brampton evening.
Yes, B-Town. Can't go wrong, I tell you. Can't go wrong. Well, I must admit, these two movies for me, I do still thoroughly enjoy Dazed and Confused, but my last note of Fast Times at Ridgemont High is, I don't like this movie. It's literally what it says. I did not enjoy it at all.
I don't like this movie.
No. But I do understand what you mean, like the aspect, there is a lot more substance to it. I guess how it's presented just didn't really hit me right, and I was just like, I'm bored. Can I stop watching this now? I'm fine. So, let's just.
And like, maybe the Dazed and Confused seem like further, like it feels more further removed than like my actual experience, because of like we didn't really have to deal with like the physical violence level in the same way, I don't think, and like.
Oh, you mean like the hazing and stuff?
Yeah, the hazing stuff.
Yeah, we did not do that in high school, and I remember. We met each other in grade 10, but I remember in grade 9 when I started high school, like the seniors and stuff went around trying to torture Niners. But I did not put up with any. I remember somebody running up to me and be like, tie my shoelace. And I was like, no. And I walked around them. Whereas every other Niner was like, yeah, okay, and getting like stuffed in garbage cans and all that kind of stuff. I remember that stuff happening. I just did not participate. There was a difference. But yeah, but the violence level in the Dazed and Confused one, though, I was just like, you're beating people.
Yeah, and like you could go to jail for that.
Yeah, like the mom pulls a shotgun on them, and I was like, "Yeah, that's about the right level." Okay,
yep.
Yeah, I get it.
Justified.
And especially like when they catch them later, and how brutal they are to them. I'm like, it was totally justified. And then the girls weren't as bad, but like it was like theirs was just super degrading. You know what I mean? Like the whole like, oh, you have to propose to the boy and do whatever they tell you to do, and you're just like. Why? That's gross. and then covered them in like ketchup and mustard and flour. But they took them to the car wash to wash them off after, so not so bad, I guess. I don't know. I never understood that aspect of like in a lot of like American movies. There's always this aspect of like group torture for you to be allowed in a group, and I'm like, why is that like a thing? Why is that necessary?
I think that's so related to like the military industrial complex about like the whole like tearing somebody down to their essence and like making them submit to whatever. It's a very like military concept to me. Yeah. Or clown school, but there are very few clown school movies, so I guess I want to see that movie though. I'd watch that movie so hard.
Yeah.
The clown school military, yes.
It'd probably be pretty amazing, to tell you the truth. I think it'd be fantastic.
Also, oddly on that line, watch Medical Police. It is a great show.
Oh, really? Okay, I'll give that one a shot as well.
Yeah, it's really fun. Although weird to watch right now, but
yeah,
still watch it.
Still watch it? Okay, I'll watch that one.
Because it's about a virus, a global virus taking over, and they're medical police.
Oh. That seems too topical.
But it's like the makers of children's hospitals. And there's a lot of crossover for the characters.
Okay, I will definitely see. Now that I know this, I will definitely give them a shot now.
Yeah, it's really good.
I will give that a shot for sure. Okay. Well, thank you so much for doing this episode and being socially distant to be on Off My Shelf this week.
I look forward to reviewing our next high school hijinks movie together.
I know, this seems to be a trend with us. Oh my god. Well, because we did Adventures in Babysitting.
Yeah.
Then we did
Can't Hardly Wait.
Can't Hardly Wait, and now these two. So we can make this happen again. I think I've got like Pretty in Pink in there and some Clueless.
I watched all those. I love all those movies.
We'll make it happen. Awesome. Well, that's it for this episode of Off My Shelf. Until next time, you can follow along on Instagram and Twitter at ohmyshelf, or you can send an email to ohmyshelf@gmail.com. On the next episode, we will be talking about the first season of the short-lived show Dead Like Me. Hope you'll be here to listen.